corners. He should also fit at the corners.
But how? Can you show some way how we can do it?
Sir, vertically he should fit at the corners and all the tiles vertically.
So does it work out? So is there a solution then? Are you able to place them?
No, sir,
Sir, I think so.
that didn't work out.
Try it and show it if you can.
Sir, I think so.
Okay, so here is the thing. If you are able to lay it perfectly, you will get a special prize from me. Okay, but you have to show it exactly without any error. You have to show on this 2 feet by 1 feet tiles, 20 of them fitting on this shape exactly without leaving any hole and without leaving any tile unused. Okay. All right, Shreyas, you can send it to me by evening also, no problem.
Okay, sir.
So what is the thing is, so those who amongst you think that it is possible to do it, but yet you have not found it, but it may be possible to do it.
Sir, I think it is possible, but I didn't try it properly. That's what I.
Okay, and who all think it is not possible to do it? Anybody thinks it is just not possible? Can the tiles be? Yeah, you can rotate them. You can rotate them. Obviously, you can rotate them. No, there is no such a thing. Anyway, see, when he's trying out so many things, right? He would have put them vertically, horizontally, whatever he would have done it. So you can do it. You can rotate the tiles, right? On the plane, you can rotate it. No problem. So we will come to the thing. So let me load this. Let me load this page again. Okay, let me. I have put some. Okay, can you see this diagram? Now, can you see there are two shapes? Shape 1 is what we were seeing. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, this is a different shape. No. I think I've got it. This one.
It's 9:15.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so here I think one row extra I have got it. I have to remove one row on the figure 1, right? As last row, assume that it is not there. Okay, assume the last row in the first figure is not there. Then is it the tile figure that we are looking at? It has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So 5 into 7, and at the top there are 5. So this is figure number 1. Just ignore the last row. I think I made a mistake while cutting. Okay. So ignore the last row. The figure number 1 that you can see is the puzzle figure, right? And we are wondering whether we can do it or not. It is of 40 squares if you ignore the last row, bottommost row. Okay. What about the figure 2, which is of a different 6 into 5 plus 4, 34 squares. Okay, 6 into 5. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 columns, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, plus there is a top row which is having 4. Okay, can you so 34. So ideally you should be able to have 17 tiles, right, of the 2 square feet size, and you should be able to lay them here. Can you lay them here on the figure 2?
Yes, sir. It's very easy to lay them on figure 2.
Very easy, right? Okay, what about others? Let me understand.
Yes, sir.
You can, it is very easy, right? It is trivially very easy, right? So what happens? Okay, so there is a interesting mathematics behind, and these are, see, as usual, the way we learn, right? See, we are starting with some simple puzzles, then we can extend this to large puzzles. Okay, that is what mathematicians do. They don't solve a single problem, they solve large classes of problems altogether. So now what the mathematician is looking at is, what if I'm given arbitrary shape? Okay, maybe 11 by 13 with some squares missing, I don't know, or 17 by 21, and in that some side corners are missing, etc. Okay, now I want to know whether a 2 square feet tiles I will be able to lay them perfectly or not. Okay, that is the question, and I should be able to answer it. So this is what is essentially what we are looking at is, we are looking at a formula, right? We are looking at a formula. And formula comes only with mathematical insight and analysis, right? Is there a formula that we can use to just quickly tell whether it is possible or not? Okay, and it turns out that there is a formula. Okay, there is a formula. Okay, just to tell you whether it can fit or it can not at the outset. No, rather it will tell you whether if it cannot fit. Okay, if it definitely cannot fit, it will tell you. Then you may be, so if the formula answer is no, then there is no way you can fit it. If the formula answer is maybe, yes is and maybe is the other answer, where maybe it is possible, it is not possible. But if the formula says no, then you are guaranteed that you will not be able to fit it. Okay, and that formula, if we apply to the figure 1, it says no. The answer comes as no, you cannot fit it. So no matter what you try, million times, you try 100 hours to spend it also, you will not be able to do it. Okay, so let us understand what is that formula. Okay, let us understand. So first thing is that we know that the tile is of what is the size of the tile? It is 2 squares, right? Unless, so assume if this is 1 square, right? So but the tile is actually of size 2 squares, right? It is 2 squares, right? Maybe I'll give it a different color. Okay, the size is of 2 squares and it is of 2 feet by 1 feet, which means it can cover 2 squares at a time, but they have to be adjacent to each other. You cannot cover squares, one square like this and one square like this. Obviously this diagonally attached squares, you cannot cover it, right? Because you cannot cut the tile. So you can only cut the, you can only cover the adjacent squares with the tile. 2 adjacent square. It can be vertical, it can be horizontal, doesn't matter, right? So what we have to do is we have to assume. See here the or here the figure is not given as a chessboard pattern. It is simply given as a normal pattern. Okay, but what you imagine that it is like a chessboard, light and dark squares. Okay, so ignore, as I said, there is a mistake in my figure 1 here. Figure 1, the bottom row, you have to ignore it. Okay, now imagine the rest of the figure and imagine that the squares are colored light and dark like a chessboard alternatively. Okay, now what does your tile? Your tile will always cover 1 dark square and 1 light square, no matter how you lay it. Correct? Horizontally, vertically, whichever way you lay it,
Yes.
it will always cover 1 dark square and 1 light square, right? Everybody agrees? Anybody has any doubt? Correct, na? Okay. So now what you do is in this 7 by 6 plus this 5, whatever that is there, right? You count the total number of dark squares and the total number of light squares. You just count it. Ignore the bottom row, count it. Ignore the bottommost row and count it. 4 plus 3, 7 plus 4, 11 plus 3, 14 plus 4, 18 plus 3. 21 dark squares are there. How many light squares are there? 3 plus 4, 7 plus 3, 10 plus 4, 14 plus 3, 17 plus 2, 19. So 19 light squares and 21 dark squares. Yeah? Do you get this number? Figure 1.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what does the logic tell you? 19 light squares and 21 dark squares. Now, if you use 19 of those tiles, you will be able to cover 19 light squares and 19 dark squares you will be able to cover. Whichever way you do it, whichever way, horizontal, doesn't matter. 19 and 19 will get covered using 19 tiles. The last tile you will be left, you can cover it 1 dark square and 1 light square. But on the diagram or on the porch, what is left is there will be 2 dark squares will be left. Correct? Because there are 21 dark squares. So you use 19 tiles to cover them. 19 will go, 2 of them will remain. Now 2 dark squares, you will not be able to cover no matter what you do with that 1 tile. 1 tile will always be able to cover only a light square and a dark square combination next to each other. Are you getting it?
Yes.
Let me go around and check. What about Shreyas? Pranav, are you getting what I'm saying? Ashish?
Yes, sir.
Huh? You have to just imagine. You have to just imagine that it is like a chessboard and just count the thing. Okay, Ahan, what about you, Ahan? Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this immediately gives you, if you just imagine like the chessboard and you just count it, it will tell you, okay, 21 and 19. 21 and 19, they are not equal, so I will not be able to cover it. What about you apply the same formula to the second figure, figure number 2. It is correct. There is no row missing or something. It is all correct. Just check. It is having equal number of light squares and dark squares, right? So what it says is you should be able to cover it, and you find that very easily. Right? You find it very easily, right? Now what is the this is the exercise for homework for you. Take the chessboard, remove, I mean, create any shape, like whatever, like 1, 2, or any similar. I mean, you can just take out some squares, but leave one core diagram intact. Okay, you can remove some side squares, corner square, side squares, whatever you want, you remove it, and just keep a remaining thing. It can be of varying lengths, varying columns and squares, and one side can be having extra squares like this, like we are having, and just put it whichever way. Okay, and try to apply this formula and check for yourself whether it works. Okay, not right now, but you can do it. Okay, and this brings us to a very interesting concept in mathematics, very simple, called as parity. Okay, and what is parity? Now I will tell you what is parity. Parity means it is just checking whether things are in pair or not. Okay, so any even number, okay, so the parity is considered as 0. So 2 means they are in a pair, so they don't need anything extra to become a pair. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 0, these numbers have parity 0, and 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, all of these have parity 1. What does parity 1 means? That they require one more item to be added so that they can form full pairs. Okay, very simple, right? Odd numbers is parity 1 and even numbers is parity 0. Okay, now this concept you can use it just as we have used it in this. You can use it a lot. You can use it. There are so many different applications of using this concept of parity. Okay, so one very simple, and immediately you will probably understand. Okay, so when we do all this communication on internet, we send messages, etc., right? Messages are finally what? They are 1 0 0 0 1 1. What? Not, there is no 2. Everything is binary, right? Something like this, or whatever it is. It can be this, or whatever it is. Everything that we send, everything is sent in binary. Okay,
I think your screen is frozen.
my screen is frozen, huh?
Like we couldn't see what you typed.
No, on the chat. I have typed it on the chat. Can you see it on the chat?
No.
Okay, what about others? Is my...
So I can
Sir,
see.
even I can't see anything on the chat, sir.
You can't see anything on the chat. Maybe...
Even I can't see anything on the chat.
Oh, it has gone to Shreyas privately. Okay, sorry. Because when you send me a private message, I reply, it goes to... Okay. Okay, can you see it on the chat now? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, generally don't try to send me direct messages in the chat here. Okay, because then I have to every time now choose everyone to reply. Otherwise, it just goes. Okay, so like this. So like this, all the internet messages that we send, right? Everything get encoded into binaries, and so there is a need for error detection. Sometimes errors will happen. Okay, because we are using airwaves, we are using electrical cables to send it, or whatever it is. There is always a chance that that something will go wrong. Some 0 will be called as 1, etc., and the mistakes will happen. Okay, now mistakes will happen. Obviously, it will create a lot of problem, right? It might just turn the message. So there is something called as error detection and correction that is there. I will not go into detail on it, but I'm just telling you. And one of the simplest error detection is using parity check. Okay, so suppose you have to send 9 bits of information. Okay, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, 9. Then we add one more bit at the end, and we call it as a parity bit. And that bit is, we have a protocol. We just agree that anytime we have to send 9 bits, we will add 1, and we will make sure that the parity is 0. Okay, or we might agree that the parity is 1, whatever is the agreement. Okay. Now, no matter what you put it, okay, the last bit will either be made 0 or 1, so that the entire parity is as per your agreement. Let us say parity 0 you want to send it, okay, which means you want to make it even. So if the among the 9 bits, if there are odd number of bits are 1 and then you will add one more at the 10th bit, that you will make it as 1, so that total odd plus 1 is even, so you will have parity as 0. Or if there are even number of bits have the value 1 in the message, okay, then you will keep the last bit also, you will keep it as 0, so that even plus 0 is again even and it has a parity 0. Okay, this is how you will send it. And later on, suppose if one out of those 10 bits, any one of those 10 bits changes, okay, due to some error, okay, you will be able to detect it because the parity would change. Okay, if one bit changes, then parity will go from 0 to 1, and you will be able to, and you will say that, oh, our agreement was that it is always, no matter what, always agreement was that parity should be 0, but I have got parity 1 in this message. That means some error has occurred, right? Are you getting this logic?
Yes, sir.
Huh? Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
Shreyas, Madhura, Ahan, everybody just confirm whether you are getting what
Yes,
I'm
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So because it is agreement, so you agree. So and for doing that, you have to add one extra bit. It is a cost. Okay, we have to add it, but it gives us the ability, by adding that one extra bit to the message, we can detect all 1 bit errors, and then same mathematics get later on. So you can expand it by adding more bits, and then you will be able to detect any 2-bit error or 3-bit error or a 4-bit error. So like this, there is more mathematics, but I have told you the basic mathematics of it. Okay, basic of it is the parity check. You can add it 1 bit, and you can using that you can ensure that whether the messages are correct or there is some error has occurred. You can detect it. Okay, now not only this, there are so many magic tricks that you might be aware of, okay, which are also based on this principle of parity actually. Okay, so I will tell you about one trick, and you can use it in your friends also, but you understand the mathematics of it, so you will be able to do it. Okay, so on a table, okay, on a table, just take out any number of coins, okay, and just throw it at random. Okay, throw it at random coins, and and what you do is, very quickly you just count the number of heads. Okay, whatever is the number of heads. So maybe there are 17 coins on the table, and you counted 11 are heads, and what is that, 6 are tails. I'm just saying. Okay, whichever way. It can be any number, whatever, just. Okay, now what trick you can do is, you can ask your friends that you will be going away from the table. Maybe you will be facing the wall somewhere. Okay, and your friends can turn over any pair of coins. So turnover means change the face, right? Any pair of coins. Let them do it 1 pair of coins. Then let them do a 2nd pair of coins. Let them do a 3rd pair. Any number up to whatever they want. Okay, give them 5 minutes, and then them whatever, how many ever, whether you want to turn over 1 pair, or you want to turn over 10 pairs or 12 or 13 or 7 or whatever it is, you just do it. Okay, once you are done, you just call me. I would come back. Okay, even before you call me, so turn any number of pairs, done. Okay, after that, you hide 1 coin. Just hide 1 coin with your hand or whatever. Cover it. One coin, you cover it. Okay, then you call me, and I will come. I will take a quick look, and I will be able to guess whether the coin that is covered is heads or tails. Okay, are you getting this?
Sir, I didn't understand. Sir.
Okay, so let us start again. Okay, you start with a on a table. You call your friends on a table. Okay, you ask any random number of coins, whatever is there. You just ask them to get the coins and put them randomly. Just throw them on the table. Okay, just throw them on the table. Okay, now, and you are doing the trick. Okay, so what will happen? Some number of coins will be having heads. Some number of coins will be having tails on the table. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Right, so let us assume that there are 9 coins. Okay, are you able to see my
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 9 coins. And suppose if there are total number of coins is 9 and there are 6 are heads and 3 are tails. Okay, H and T. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Right? 6 or maybe I will increase the zoom here. Go here. Yeah, total 9 coins, 6 of them were heads and 3 of them were tails. Now what happens is, now what you are saying is, okay, I don't want to look at the table now. I will go away from the table. Okay, now your friends are there near the table. Ask them, turn over any pair of coins. Turn over means what? Whatever is head will become tail, whatever is tail will become head. That is what you will mean by turning the coin. But don't turn one coin. Every time you turn a pair of coins. Okay. But how many you do it, it is up to you. Any number of times you do this pairing of the coins, like turning the pair of the coins. You do it any number of times. Okay. Then finally cover one coin, just one coin you cover it and call you. Okay, the friends will call you. You will be able to go, you will be able to take a quick look at the table, how the coins are placed, and you will be able to guess what is the face of the coin that is covered, whether it is head or whether it is tail. Okay, does this sound like a good magic trick? You will be able to guess it. Pranav, Sai Pranav,
Yes, sir.
you have done this trick. You can do this. You can do this. Do you get the idea what it will have? Now you got the thing, right? Or did you get the setup? What I told you, you understood everything,
Yes, sir.
right? Now you can try it. And what is the trick is, again, the trick is parity here. Parity here. What you do is, see what happens is, anytime when you turn over a pair of coins, not a single coin, the parity will never change. Okay. So let us see what it is. So if there are 6 heads, so that means the parity is 0, and there are 3 tails, parity of tails is 1. Right? You got it? Head being even number, the parity is 0, and tails are odd number, so parity is 1. Now what happens is, let us take, suppose if a pair of coins is turned. Okay, suppose if both of them were heads, suppose there are only 3 possibilities when you turn a pair of coins. Either both of them are heads, or both of them are tails, or
One is head.
one is head and
one
one is tail. Okay, so now let us look at it. If the coins that you choose were originally having heads, okay, two coins you turn it pair. So 6 will become 4 and 3 will become 5. Correct?
Yes.
What is the parity of heads?
Yes, sir. The parity is the same.
0, and here the parity will remain. Okay, what now? Instead of this, suppose if you had turned a pair of tails, you had turned it. Pair of tails you had chosen it and turned it around. So 3 would have become 1 and 6 would have become 8. Parity is 0 and 1. Still it is parity remains. Okay. Now what happens if you had taken one head and one tail? So 6 would have become, see, this is where the trick is. If you choose one head and one tail, after turning over it still remains one head and one tail, because the tail becomes head, the head becomes tail. Correct?
It remains
So
6 heads and 3.
6 and 3. So again parity will remain 0 and 1. Right? So you know that any number of times you do it, okay, no matter what, 100 times also you do it, okay, or 500 times also, or whatever it is, 113 times, the parity will never change. This is the formula. So now what you will do, what is your trick? At the beginning, when the table coins are laid on the table, you just just take head. It doesn't take either head or tail. You just choose one of them and count it, and you don't even have to remember the number. Just remember whether the parity is 0 or the parity is 1. Okay, that's all you remember, nothing else. Okay, there might be 57 coins on the table, doesn't matter. It will take you 1 minute to just look at it. But after that, all you will remember is whether it is 0, parity is 0, or parity is 1. Okay, so finally once they do all the coin turning and then they cover one coin and they call you, now you don't know about one coin. Okay, but you know the rest of the coins are there. Again, check the parity of the heads. Okay, if it has changed, then you know that the coin hidden is also a head, because then only it will become parity is 0 remains. If the parity has not changed, remaining coins, then you know that already it is there. So the coin that is hidden is not a head, it can only be a tail, right? So this is the trick. Okay, this is the trick. Okay, and you can try it, and there are more versions of this trick, but essentially you got understood the parity principle is there. Okay, so there is actually I will send you probably some links to look at it later on. There are a lot of interesting things that you can do with parity. Okay, understood? Now I'm going to look at one thing that last week Madhura was asking, how to generate Pascal's triangle. We had done it. How to generate the numbers for any row, and not starting from 1. Here we know that we had started from here and then we could go, but we have to do a lot of work. Suppose if I ask you to do 17th row, then you have to first create all the 16 rows first, right? And then only you have to go to the 17th, right?
Yes, sir.
So how to create it? So there was a formula Madhura had asked, and there is a formula. Okay, I'm going to explain it, but we are going to run out of time. So what we will do is I will stop